human, maybe feelings and considerations. But when it comes to jurisprudence or the legalities or the deen, dictating, exactly. So it is then children, then the job,
then friends,
and then lastly, every other person is in others.
Others.
Every other thing is in others, and it is so sensitive. The fact that your sister, your auntie, your jaja, your whoever in-law is an other in your family.
Okay.
Actually, they are placed to the level of television, watching football, reading newspapers, reading a book. Maybe if you have a hobby of swimming and some, all those are others. The priorities come and they're very clearly, we share them when we are doing our marital sessions. Someone needs to appreciate that there are priorities in marriage. And in-laws are people that come as some after taking care of my husband, and then maybe children. Your wife, then my children, and then my sister.
So the in-laws should come then. So Hajat, there's something I want you to help us appreciate. In the Quran, in the chapter 4 Surah An-Nisa, there are categories of people that are prohibited
to marry?
For marriage, and is a man having two sisters in the same marriage. So in such a case,
at the same time,
so that is the case of where Islam has prohibited completely the man to say, Zaitun is well mannered, she's hardworking,
I should get another one.
I think for purposes of just having security of everything, let me go and get the sister. So Islam prohibits that outrightly. Now I want you to help us also share with us what are some of those other things or areas where the in-laws are not supposed to be in a so-called relationship in terms of our marriages.
We need to appreciate, especially in the African setting, where we believe in extended families. We have communities that are full of in-laws. You know, the husband brings in their brothers and sisters, and then the wife also brings in her sisters.
Of course.
We need to first of all appreciate that there is a mahram setting here, whereby the person that you're bringing in as your sister may not be allowed to be married to your husband at the same time as you're married to him. But this is someone that religion allows your man to marry.
Yes.
Okay? So if you bring these people so close in your home, you're going to get a lot of scenarios whereby your husband is tempted. We have seen these many African men. I don't know, I won't talk about the others.
Are you seeming to suggest that Zaitun brings in her sister in the home, and then the husband of the home begins seeing that Zaitun has deficiencies here and here? She can send you away and replace you with the sister. Is it what
that is one? But the one that I was even talking about is your husband wanting to have you, but using your sister as well. So you have your sister in the garage or in the guest room, and your husband is tempted.
He's making her a mistress.
And you know, it is shaitan comes in so hard in this kind of scenes, whereby you know, now for example you're pregnant, you may be very heavy, or you have just given birth and you're not very available to your husband, and then your sister of senior 2, senior 3 is moving around in a shorts, because people don't even appreciate that there are places where they're supposed to be putting on hijab even though they're in the home. When your sister's husband is around, you are supposed to be covered.
That is, the husband should be covered, just like the man, the lady.
That is someone you can marry. And the fact that you're not married, they are not supposed to see your body. But we have there is a common lifestyle whereby when people are in-laws, they do not differentiate between them being blood ties and not being blood, because an in-law is not a blood relative.
So somebody would assume that because Zaitun's sister is staying in the same house, so
so that she become, because even when we are calling them,
so she's like a sister to the husband.
Exactly, that is the mistake we are trying to highlight. So you're going to see if you're my husband, so your little brother is moving around so freely in a short, without a shirt, and he's comfortable because somehow he calls me sister.
Calls you sister, yes.
Even when he's addressing me, he calls me wife. Because we are talking about the traditional setting that we have. So it's a mora, molamu, muchala, and it kind of sits into someone's brain that nothing could happen that is sexual between these two people. But the eventualities have showed us that these people quickly or normally and naturally get attracted to each other, and many have fallen into the trap. We have a lot of scenarios of the wife complaining that my husband wanted to rape my sister. Yes. We have a number of scenarios where brothers-in-laws have forced their brothers sisters into sexual activity, because you as the brother have this total trust in your brother.
In your brother at home.
For example, we have elder brothers that will probably have no jobs,
so they tell them come and stay around.
Come and stay around as we are trying to fix something. So this guy is here the whole day. The wife is preparing food, giving him tea, they are watching TV together. So there is some familiarity that is growing in between them, and then eventually we are going to find certain scenes today. That is why we have challenges of DNA. And now when even you check the children, they are going to be yours, yet they are not even yours, because it is your brother. You have the same DNA. But many people have children of their brothers amongst their children, because the brother has some sort of entitlement, and the wife does not probably have the self-esteem or the energy to fight off the advances of this brother-in-law, for example.
So, as you continue making that point, you want to go in for a break. I want you to differentiate for us between two extremes. There are cases where you have, especially in the traditional setup, where you find mother-in-law, for example, says, for me to meet my son-in-law, that is a bad omen, or it's Iran, right? So you find they always want to distance. That is on the extreme end. Then the other extreme is where people are freely living in the family. So I want you to share some insights on this so extremist kind of approach, where the mother-in-law, the father-in-law, that is my muko. Do they call them muko? That is my son-in-law coming. She even goes and hides away. To what level? Because in the next, as we come back from the back, we want to look at the obligations and rights of these two different assets. But I want you to give us your thoughts on this extreme end of where mother-in-law, father-in-law says, I even don't want to
look at her.
Is that Islamic or it is cultural?
We shall see.
Okay, so dear viewer, we are looking at
but it looks like we still have a few minutes
system of Islam, where we are looking at the issue of how do we deal with in-laws. And the first principle we have noted is that Islamically, Islam has put clear boundaries, clear borderlines between what we call the mahram and the non-mahram. Mahram is someone you can marry. Mahram is someone that you cannot marry in circumstances. For example, your mother, because Allah, when was telling us, the Quran says, Hurimat alaykum mahatukum, started with the mother, then went to your sisters and the whole list. And among them was, if a man has already got a lady from a family, he's not supposed to have two sisters as co-wives in the same marriage. But if the lady perhaps passed on, you can go back and request for the other sister. But having the two, now we are looking at cases where you have your wife, for example, my wife is Laila, and then there's a sister who we are staying with in the house. We are saying in such cases, what should be the ideal and the best way to approach the same. So before we go for the break, I want you to help us. Mother-in-law, father-in-law are those people who I don't want even to greet. Is that the best?
I've seen both scenarios because May got married to a side where my father-in-law used to even shake my hands. Oh wow! Yeah, he used not to hug, but he had a free. He created an environment where you can sit with him, though he's seated up on his chair, and you can sit with him just on the side or somewhere, just a distance from him, and you can have an humble conversation with him. Okay? But respectful conversation. Okay. And then we have the extremes, especially that come from
the mother's side.
My mother-in-law, of course, is now that one. I think doesn't have any. They are not too many boundaries, but respect continues to be there because this is an elder.
Yes.
And the other thing that has to come out clearly is your mother-in-law will never be your mother.
Of course.
That is a mistake that some people make. You will hear many women reporting their husbands to their mothers-in-law. I don't even know what they expect from them because which side are they supposed to take anyway? You appreciate that, eh?
Mother-in-law will take Hassan.
Hassan's, apart from a few people and scenarios where she might be, okay, I'll talk to him, but still again on a softer yes. So you don't really expect a lot when you report your husband.
So in such a case, what should be the how should I take the relationship of where mother-in-law is hiding her from me? Is that we need to respect cultures. I think we need to respect cultures because when you look at, for example, the Baganda, who really did not want the daughter-in-law or son-in-law to interact with the father or mother-in-law, I think they were still also seeing, or it was an oversight of what again Islam is trying to. Okay, inshallah, we are going to be stopping for a short break, and then when we come back, we'll be continuing the same aspect that we are looking at, inshallah.
Eno ye Salam TV.
Okuba omuwanguzi olina okuba sede nga Tiger. Newe ogula amafuta ng'okozesa MTN Momo okuwangula kwangu. Kozesa Momo app oba nyiga *165* 3#, teekamu merchant code, teekamu omuwendo gwa ssente, teekamu Momo pin, usasule. Congratulations! Emmotoka yo kati nsanyufu era kati olina mukisa ayinza okwewangulira mobile money ne MTN Momo.
Let's live it up and party and have cracking good fun. When it comes to edutainment, DSTV's #1.
Is everybody ready to go?
We've got the zaniest characters to transport you away. The party is cracking, so why not come play? You're gonna love it. We've got so many channels and a ton of new shows, like Disney and Nickelodeon, where anything goes. So live it up with DSTV. We bring the fun. You know we're #1.
Salaamu egabudde oli munna bizinesi oba olina ekitongole ekiwa obuweereza obw'enjawulo nga weetaaga kimanyike mu buli maka mu ggwanga lyonna. Salaamu TV ekuleetedde enteekateeka ya Salaamu egabudde. Guno gwe mukisa gw'ofunye by'otunda ne by'okola birangibwe ku TV yaffe Nganzi wamu n'emikutu gyaffe emigatta abantu gyonna. Weegatte ku bukadde n'obukadde bw'abalabi baffe okwetooloola Uganda yonna era bizinesi yo yeeyongera okumanyika nga bw'onyumirwa emiwendo egisaliddwako osobola okuganyulwa okwannamaddala mu kulangako. Tosobola omukisa ssemakisa guno ogukuweereddwa. Okumanya ebisingawo tukubireko leero ku 0704-796-09 oba 0783-27-21-34. Salaamu egabudde ku Salaamu TV, olutimbero olw'emirembe.
Introducing the next evolution of streaming in Africa. Re-engineered from the ground up. A new look, a smarter, faster interface, seamless, powerful. AfroMobile is now easily available across all your smart devices, smart TVs, smartphones, tablets, and more. From live TV and events to your favorite on-demand shows, AfroMobile delivers an ultra-smooth, uninterrupted streaming experience anytime, anywhere. Download and update your AfroMobile today. AfroMobile, authentic African stories.
Eno ye Salam TV.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear viewer of Salam TV, we want to appreciate and thank you for keeping it Salam. We welcome those that are just joining us for the first time. This is the Alhidaayah show, where we are here every Thursday from 3 to 4 o'clock, and we look at the social system of Islam, where we are making an effort to see that families perhaps get the right information they need to have before those before the marriage institution can have the information. Then those that are already in, perhaps to refresh on what they need to appreciate regarding their marriages. So if you have missed out on previous episodes, kindly visit the Salam YouTube page, type Alhidaayah, and then you'll be getting all the information. So today we are looking at the issue of dealing with in-laws. In-laws are relatives to our spouses, right? The mother of your wife becomes your mother-in-law. The father of your wife becomes your father-in-law. The father of your husband becomes your father-in-law. The brother, the same. So we are saying what are some of the things we need to pay attention that will help our marriages become long-lasting. If we do not handle issues well, that's where you hear cases of marriages lasting a short while and they end up breaking up. So we want to see how we should better deal with this. So we started on a note that says that Islam has put clear boundaries. If somebody is prohibited from marriage to you, we call that on a mahram. Now, in-laws do not fall in that category. Your mother-in-law is a potential co-wife. Your father-in-law is a potential co-husband. But so you need to be very careful with the boundaries that we define. So before we went to the break, we saw that we have two extreme cases. There are cases where the mother-in-law, the father-in-law is so familiar with your spouse that they even hug, they shake hands, they say, my daughter-in-law, my father, my brother-in-law, my son-in-law, please come here. They give money and that is one case, over familiarizing. The second case is where there's so apart a distance, where the mother-in-law even doesn't want even to see her son-in-law. So, you see her very many miles away, and we want you to help us build give us a middle way, or what will be the Islamic position. Then inshallah we'll be looking at the rights that we should accord to these in-laws, and perhaps what obligations there should come before we wind up the show.
Yes.
So talk to us about the two extremes.
Alhamdulillah. I think many cultures come with different handling of in-laws.
Yes, please.
Because the extremes of too much of a distance, to the extent that in some cultures there's even a disease.
Yes,
that was
in-law disease.
There is a disease that you are likely to get when you come close to your mother-in-law or father-in-law. But I want to appreciate that kind of arrangement whereby they didn't want to, because remember la takrab. They didn't want this abomination to happen, because it is quite a very, very, very big disappointment if a mother-in-law falls into, a trap of the son. It is, and yet it is very likely Some people usually think that maybe the mother is very old, maybe the boy is a lot focused on the wife or what, or is so attracted to the wife. Remember, Shaitan is always around here. He is always near our marriage, and he wants to tear it apart. So we have a number of scenes where the mother-in-law has done, and sometimes it's even the mother-in-law who is even tempting.
Strategizing to see that
she wants to test the what the daughter is, or So that distance, I want to appreciate that distance.
They even feel jealous, envious of.
It's a common sentiment.
My daughter
got this very handsome and well-to-do man. So the Shaitan comes in and plants a number of things in this woman's head. So I want to appreciate the distance.
The culture.
I want to appreciate the distance, because whichever information that will be needed to move from the mother to the son-in-law will reach. So if they don't have to be, that close, staying together, and we even have this challenge of mothers-in-law calling their sons-in-law on phone, and then you're hearing her sweetening the voice, and because she needs some money or something, some sort of assistance. I think the respect and the love and the cautiousness of not letting, giving space to any undesirable situations. I appreciate the distance. I don't want to give how much distance should be, but I believe that even though, because our religion came to help cultures where they were going out wayward, the culture is supposed to put them right. But I want to believe that Islam will appreciate the distance between the mother-in-law and the son-in-law, the daughter-in-law and the father-in-law, and then even the brothers, your brothers, your uncles. Because I was reading that the Prophet at a certain point told the Sahabas that beware of entering unto women. Don't just enter into places where there are women. He was telling men. And then one of the Ansars asked that, how about if it's a brother-in-law? What's wrong with my brother coming into my home when my wife is around? And the Prophet, the word that we were trying to dodge, the Prophet clearly said the brother-in-law is death.
Sister-in-law is death.
Okay, the sister-in-law is death. Wow. There is some sort of chemistry that will build between these two people. It is not blood, it is not friendship, but the chemistry is there. And Shaitan can use it for anything. And remember, there is this love that has been brought in. There is this respect that has been brought in. There is that tie that we have tied. So there is that feeling that might cause some disturbances.
Okay, wow. So Hajat, thank you very much for helping us appreciate that. I want you now to help us. What should be the kind of rights that these in-laws should demand from me, their son-in-law, from me, their daughter-in-law? What are those rights? Because the distance will be there, but what are those things that they demand of me as their daughter or son-in-law?
Actually, when you do some reading, our religion does not have any obligatory rights that in-laws demand from that person that has come into their family.
But of course the human
the human and societal responsibilities of the fact that you're going to find people who are the loved ones of your spouse. If you truly are claiming that you love your husband, one of the things that you are going to do that show that you love your husband is the fact that you're going to love and respect their relatives. You will not tell us, like some people want us to believe, that you love your husband but you don't respect his mother. This is also a very common thing. You find a woman who is so disrespectful to her mother-in-law, and then she tells us that she loves her husband so much. We are going to find it very hard to believe that. So you continue to love and respect, especially those who have come in the same tone. All right. So if you have in-laws that come with good faith, you know, in-laws that come with goodwill, in-laws that come in with love, they, you know, they come in with lots of respect, and you know, they've welcomed you and accepted you in their family.
Yes,
it will not really. You then might also give it. You know, you just give a second. They say one good turn deserves another. So you also reciprocate this kind of behavior and treatment.
Okay.
Then now this also spells out, because when in-laws come in, some in-laws come in a very bad picture. We have sisters-in-law that become a headache right from when they learned that their brother has someone they are bringing. They tend to become very jealous. They tend to become very envious. They tend to become very, very bad towards this girl that is coming into their family.
You know what they call it?
Possessive.
Over-possessive.
Yeah, the possession. Sometimes even they were not so friendly to the brother before he came. But when the wife comes in, then they start to show how much they deserve.
You lady, do not mistreat our brother.
Take care of our brother. We've been taking care of. You know, that kind of mistreatment and disrespect might cause this person to also revenge.
But Islam encourages that you should return back goodness, right?
To badness?
Yes.
Is that Islam?
Of course.
No. That is, I think those are Catholics who say when someone slaps you, this cheek, you give them a second cheek.
Not in that sense, but you know, the Surah for Surah chapter 31, where Allah says that that the bad and good can never be the same. So repel the evil with goodness. So perhaps if this person is so abusive and talkative, perhaps
of course we want to maybe regulate the responses to maybe mistreatment. Of course, if someone abuses you, you as a wife who has come to build a family, we don't want you to see you start abusing your brothers. That is the first thing that I was mentioning, that the kind of treatment you're going to present to your in-laws is going to strengthen your bond with your husband. So in case of any ill treatment coming from your in-laws, you need to handle it in the most intelligent way, because you have come here to build a family with your husband. But again, we do not want to call for people who are going to be like doormats.
No, of course.
You know, so people come in, they step on you, they abuse you, they misuse your. If someone comes in and misuses the property in their home because they believe that these are their things. Someone spells out that this our brother is the one who has, you know, built this house. He's the one who put this sofa set. So someone comes and steps on the sofa set with maybe dirty shoes.
Yeah, I think also in the beginning when we started, you said there are different levels of responsibility that you have to different stakeholders in the marriage. You said Allah comes first, then to the husband, Allah first, the parents, then the spouse, then the kids. I want you to talk to us if my sister-in-law, my brother-in-law has got issues of emotional and financial challenges. How do I also have a right to meddle into that?
I think I don't want to use the word right or obligation. We are going to leave this to the person. Number one, the way you were raised. Okay. Number two, the relationship that you have with your husband. Then the third is the relationship your husband has with this person. And then lastly, the way this person presents themselves to you. Because if someone comes in a respectful manner and needs help or assistance from me, it could be financial, it could be some, you know, psycho support. If someone has a marriage, you know, challenge and they want to look up to it, because
what should be the better way? Go through your spouse or come to me direct?
If I advise parents to go through their sons and daughters. If they have any
maybe normally it is on the lady's side, because the man normally is taken to have some sort of
he's supposed to he's supposed to also, you know, support the wife's family, especially
so
financially.
In such a case, the mother to my wife should talk to her daughter, not to me directly. That's what you're saying.
I think it is better off so that we maintain some sort of respect and posture for this woman, because if you go directly and you call your son-in-law,
yes.
It is, I think there is that protocol that you have broken. You're bringing in some sort of familiarization that is, we are trying to kind of reduce. Yes. So you talk to your daughter that my daughter, for example, my tank has a challenge, or my goats are sick, or I am sick.
And your husband is a plumber. He can.
Now your plumbing might, okay, you can send maybe the team, but we don't want you to go to your mother-in-law's bathroom because you're a plumber. That is why I think the word love and respect is now the key thing. So we just have to widen it. You need to know the boundaries.
So in other words, what we should emphasize here is, even if you're a professional at ABCD, do not deal directly with your that gap has to be there, because if you delete that gap, then
you might ruin something very big. But we encourage the friendship, we encourage help here and there, support here and there, advice. If there is any advice that has to come through, it has to go through the right channels. Even no matter how wise you might be. Now Zaitun is a counselor, okay? So now she wants to go and advise her mother-in-law and father-in-law about their marriage. No, it doesn't work like that. I think it shouldn't work. They will never take that kind of advice.
But they see you on TV, and everywhere you go to be confident, and I say, even then she calls, because there are certain calls that I get from people that come in that kind of picture. Yes.
You have to find
I think the best way is you send your
either send either a colleague or you talk to your husband in this is a very sensitive area, because there are things that you might do in good faith,
of course,
but in-laws might misinterpret them. We have scenarios where you might be giving financial assistance. And then in-laws are like, you're showing off.
Of course.
You appreciate that, and most of the time they believe you're giving them little out of so much. There are places where we even, kind of try to come in and we cover for our husbands. For example, I might have a function at home, and then at that point, my husband doesn't have some money, and then I get some of my money if I have, or I outsource, and then I present this money to the people, and then I present it as my husband's contribution. But most of the time, these in-laws are not really interested in you being in good terms with. I don't even know why it is like that. But many in-laws do not really enjoy you being in a good relationship and a good ambience, a settled marriage. Many of them are like, who is she? How come they are so in love and all that? So you have to be very intelligent, very sensitive.
Even if you have a service or profession you want to extend to them, you need to be very intelligent. Hajat, now I want you, as we had come to the end of the show, the issue of what we call checking on in-laws. Do you think it is something worthwhile? Once in a while you call mother-in-law singer, you call...
Yes. I think a call is a good thing. Calling is a good thing.
How are you there in the
but
village?
Again, a katinko. In Uganda, we have what we call katinko. You want to take a place in your in-laws family. You will never, no matter how adorable and beautiful and good you will be, you will never have that solid place. You will always be. It's a hard thing to say, but you will always be second best. Okay? So checking on people is a good thing, especially the people that you've been introduced to by your husband, by your wife. So when you were courting, your husband mentioned that he has a favorite jaja of sorts, he has a favorite auntie, he has a beautiful relationship with her.
So Hajat, do you think this is a good practice? Because normally there's a person I know, the husband receives a call from either the jaja or mother, and then mother says, I want to talk to my daughter. And then the lady says, I fear talking to them. So would that be a good thing?
You know, relatives are very sensitive people.
So it is a good thing that you shy from talking to, because mother has finished conversation with her son and wants to talk to her daughter-in-law and daughter-in-law.
Why do you fear to talk to your mother when your husband is even there, when she has requested? Because what does it require? She only wants to talk to you, maybe ask about their granddaughters, how are you, my daughter? And it is a simple, I'm okay, mommy, we are okay, 2 or 3, and thank you for calling us and checking on us, period.
That is all.
My caution is, there are people who fight so much to become a part of the other family, like that indispensable part.
So they want to feel as though they have been incorporated.
So someone wants to bear themselves so much to
they even want to know what is happening in the other end.
They tend to
function that is coming up. Please, I need to go.
And when they get there, they want to be all over. They want to work and even break their backs. And my dear, there are limits, there are boundaries. You know, this is a natural thing. You will never be a favorite. If you want to see this, just cause any chaos with this son of those people.
Oh, this daughter of
just make them, you know, uncomfortable. Let news go to that side that there's some bad anything that is coming from you. That is when you are going to see the anger and the right sentiments that come from that side.
Okay, so Hajat, as we are winding up, thank you for that guidance. There's one thing I want you to help us. It is to do with the level of control the in-law should have over our family. I want to mention this based on in the history of Islam. We all studied about Prophet Ibrahim and his son Ismail. So Prophet Ibrahim takes Ismail to Makkah, leaves him there with the mother, and then often they visited him, but on one occasion he comes and finds the wife of Ismail and asks her, how are you? How is this place? For us here, we are suffering. My husband doesn't have money. You know
we eat once in a week.
You know what? It's Prophet Ibrahim tells the lady, when your husband comes back, tell him to change the entrance to the house.
The lock. Actually, it's the lock.
The lock. So the lady, the husband comes back, says, how was here? Oh, a very old man came here and then said, he asked me about our condition. I told him blah blah blah, and then the last thing he told me that I should change the lock. So that was my dad. He told me to divorce.
To dismiss you.
We also told Umar asked his son Abdullah ibn Umar also to divorce some lady. So what level of control should the in-laws have on the daughter-in-law, the father-in-law? In 2-3 minutes.
Now that is going to be based on the relationship I have with my parents.
Okay.
Especially you, the son, with your father, for example. And in case of any judgment, of course it has to be objective.
Of course. Because there are cases where you find this lady good man, but the family was hesitant. That 3-4 months.
You come in, you have a sitter, and your husband does not have even, the sisters, they don't even have a cup in the family. So you come in and they virtually alienate you. They don't want you to be part of their family.
So in such a case, can the in-laws come and say, please?
Now, you'll acknowledge that this marriage is for 2 people.
Of course.
Okay? And the amount of respect I have for my dad or my parents as a man is going to determine the control they might have over my decisions when it comes to running my family. Because if I don't respect my father, he definitely will not have any word in my family. But if because we are looking at Ibrahim, these are 2 prophets. We are looking at Ibrahim, who has a very huge and rich, relationship with his son. So definitely, what is coming from Ibrahim to his son is nearly a revelation of sorts. It is probably Allah speaking, you know. So the relationship we have with our children before they even get married is going to determine, determines the choice of their wives sometimes, because you've been guiding them or not guiding them, and then when they get the wife, probably the wife is a good choice or not a good one. So this is going to be determined by how much they take their father's word as important or not, because no matter how bad I'll be, if I don't respect my dad, he cannot make me change my wife. But we continue not to want to choose between our wives and our parents. These are people who are not on the same scale. We usually tell the wives who have challenges with my husband is mommy's boy, my husband listens to the mom so much. That is also a challenge.
We have a minute.
A minute. So we don't want to have a conflict or a competition between you, the wife, and your in-laws. So your husband has to put a clear boundary. He needs to help his family to appreciate where they end and start. And even the wife needs to appreciate her weight when it comes to the family.
Okay, thank you very much. Dear viewer, our time cannot be extended beyond this, but I want to thank you very much for being with us from where we started. I want to thank our seasoned viewers, Laida, my dear wife. I want to appreciate so much you for
she's watching, eh?
Yeah, watching always and appreciating. Plus our neighbor somewhere there, she's called Mama Asma Alhidaayah. Plus people, there are people who are watching us in Kenya. And they will send me their feedback. Thank you very much. I want also to thank our different stakeholders who make this show a success. Those on YouTube, those on the production team, the people in the studio, the control room people. We thank you very much for always helping us to do this. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you abundantly. So till next time, we shall pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants you a fruitful week ahead. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi.